Hello, I'm Greg Crow, and you're listening to episode 14 of Audio Off the Shelf, the podcast where I play a handful of tracks from my physical collection. Everything I play in the show comes off the vinyl shelves in my living room, off the CD shelves in my basement, or out of that box of cassettes I keep on the shelf in the storage room. Well, there's nothing quite like getting new music in your mailbox. That rush of joy when you see that large mailer in there and you can't wait to get into it. And today's episode comes from the mailbox. It's all the stuff that I have recently had delivered to my home. As I said a couple of episodes before, please be sure to support your local record stores, but also be sure to support your favorite local artists directly, if you can, by doing mail order. This first track comes from Winnipeg musician Will Bonness and his newest album, Change of Plans. Please be sure to check out Will at his website, willbonness.com. That's NNS, willbonness.com. As much as I love listening to Will's recordings, he's even better to see live. He has a subtlety and touch to the piano that makes his performances look effortless. One of my favorite things about this track I'm going to play for you is the introduction. I love it, and I just love it when songwriters or composers mess with your internal expectations of pulse in a song's introduction. Now, clearly everyone in this band knows where beat 1 is, but the listener is forced to work for it. I like it when I'm made to work for my understanding and my listening, and this song does just that. And it's not just the intro. Once you think you figured it out, you got a hold of the ideas, you got a hold of where the pulse is, you're thrown for another loop, and then another. But the rhythmic sophistication is just one of the many things that there is to love in this tune. Also check out the amazing solos. Amazing, amazing work here. This tune features Julian Bradford on the bass, Fabio Ragnelli on the drums, John Gordon on the saxophone as well. This is Will Bonness and Burning Bridges. That was Will Bonness and Burning Bridges from his 2020 release Change of Plans. Now, if you're a regular listener of this podcast, you'll know what a huge fan I am of King Kong Jirio, the Toronto musician who I've had the great opportunity to work with on several occasions. You know, for years, Mitch would be sending me recordings of his that he would do in private, and I always said, how come you don't release anything, Mitch? Well, he finally has. He sent this to me in the mail, just out of the goodness of his heart. I can't thank you enough for that, Mitch. Thank you so much. He sent me a couple records. I was thrilled to get them in the mail, and I'm going to play something from his band, King Kong 4. I guarantee you're going to have this melody in your head long after you finish listening to this tune. I hope you enjoy this. This is Drink in Your Head.
All of the girls have gone to bed while you lie awake with drink in your head. Babylon come, you thought you were dead, but you lie awake with drink in your head. You lie awake with drink in your head. You got regrets, sir. You said some things you can't take back. You gotta answer. All of the girls have gone to bed while you lie awake with drink in your head. Babylon come, you thought you were dead, but you lie awake with drink in your head. You lie awake with drink in your head. What were you thinking? Now you done some things you can't undo. You gotta answer. Now you done your damage, boy. Is there a way to make this right? You gotta answer. All of the girls have gone to bed while you lie awake with drink in your head. Babylon come, you thought you were dead, but you lie awake with drink in your head. You lie awake with drink in your head. Oh, you lie awake with drink in your head. You lie awake with drink in your head.
That was Drink in Your Head by King Kong 4 from their Jump Up release entitled Punch It. I've had some listeners ask me, now that I've done a dozen or so episodes of this podcast, who do I hope to get for sponsorships, or do I have a Patreon page? I don't, and I'm not looking for any sponsorships. If you want to support the podcast, I think one of the best ways you can do that is to search out the musicians that I feature in these episodes. If you like what you hear, fantastic. Search out these folks. Check out King Kong 4 on Bandcamp. They got tons of stuff digitally for sale and otherwise. Please do me a favor by reaching out to them. I'd like to take a moment now to say if you'd like to reach out to me personally, please do so at audioofftheshelf@gmail.com. Please follow or tag the podcast at AOTS204 on Twitter, or you can follow or tag the podcast on Instagram at AudioOffTheShelf. Something else I've received in the mail recently is an album from Winnipeg saxophonist Sean Irvine. Sean is a wonderful friend. He's a great musician, and he's written and recorded a fantastic album. The album is called The Oak and Alley Chapter, and it's going to feature the following musicians. We got Sean Irvine on saxophone, Matthew Walden on trumpet. We're going to hear again from Will Bonness, who played on this record. He's playing the Rhodes on this recording. Carl Kohut on bass. Carl is such a fantastic bass player. And Graydon Kramer, another great Winnipeg musician who will be playing the drums on this recording. It's a fantastic blend of a few styles. Really enjoy this jam. This is entitled Nightmare. It's the lead track off of the Oaken Alley Chapter by Sean Irvine. Nightmare, written by Sean Irvine from his album The Oak and Alley Chapter. Please check out Sean's webpage at SeanIrvineWoodwinds.com. That's SeanIrvine Woodwinds.com. He's a really fine human being and a great musician, and he's doing wonderful things. He's continuing to pursue his education, and I can't wait to see what is going to come from Sean in the future. Thanks so much for sharing your music with us, Sean. So I have this issue, and I'm sure a lot of music collectors will have the same issue that I have. You'll look at your collection and you'll say, there's some definite holes in my collection here. Some things that should be on the shelf that aren't. And I've been working to try to rectify that over the past little while. Now, one of the holes in my collection is that I don't have anything from the legendary band Sparrer. Embarrassed to say it, but I've started picking some up. So I'm going to play you something that I received in the mail not too long ago from their 1982 record, Shock Troops. This is We're Coming Back. That was We're Coming Back by Sparrer and their 1982 record, Shock Troops. Another album I received in the mail not long ago has recently been nominated for a Juno Award. Winnipeg guitarist Jocelyn Gould's latest album, Elegant Traveler, has been nominated for Jazz Album of the Year in the solo category, and for good reason. It's a fantastic record. You know, it's one thing to admire the performances on a record, but there's also a lot to love compositionally. Jocelyn is not only a fantastic guitarist, but also an accomplished composer. I'm going to play my favorite track from the record, and it's entitled Change of Plans. not to be confused with the name of the Will Bonness record I mentioned at the beginning of the show. Now, there's something about this writing that strikes a chord with me. Now, I may be off base here, but it really reminds me of the writing I hear on the 1960 Freddie Hubbard album, Open Sesame, especially Hub's Nub. The rhythmic breaks, the key of G minor, the parallel fourths. In my ear, it sounds a lot like Miss Gould has captured a modern take on a Freddie Hubbard sound, and I love every second of this track. I hope you enjoy Change of Plans by Jocelyn Gould. That was Change of Plans by Jocelyn Gould from her 2020 record, Elegant Traveler. And Jocelyn, I know all of Winnipeg, all of Manitoba is certainly pulling for you next month at the Juno Awards. All the best and good luck to you. Okay, this last track is really something special. Have you ever wondered what Portishead would sound like if they came from Jamaica? Imagine that for a moment. This is an exceptional piece of music that you're about to hear. It comes from that package that Mitch Girio sent me, where he included his King Kong 4 release, and also a record on which he played most of the instruments and produced. Famed Jamaican vocalist Susan Cadogan recorded her vocals in Kingston, Jamaica, while Mitch recorded his parts in Toronto. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Miss Cadogan's work, here's a snippet from her bio. In early April of 1975, Susan, who was named by Lee Perry, shot to stardom when the single Hurt So Good raced up the BBC charts in London, peaking at number 4 with a bullet. Susan was summoned to London and made her first appearance on Top of the Pops, the famed weekly television chart show. Later that year, her follow-up single, Love Me Baby, peaked at number 21 on the charts. Then followed her now collector's item LP entitled Susan Cadogan, which was produced by Lee Perry, and the LP, Doing It Her Way, which was produced by Waterman. Years ago, I remember having a phone conversation with Mitch where he had mentioned he wanted to try writing a traditional Jamaican song, but use a non-traditional chord progression. Now, as soon as I heard this track, I had to wonder if this was the manifestation of that idea he had all those years ago. The second chord in this progression is F sharp diminished, a fairly unusual sound in 1960s or 70s Jamaican music, and what's more unusual about it is where it comes from, what precedes it. Listen carefully as the initial chord of F sharp minor morphs into a greatly unexpected diminished sound. It's a lot of tension, but it really works. He also utilizes the same technique in the backside of the A section. Listen for when Susan sings the line, been torn out and will never restart. When she sings the word never, she starts out in the diminished fifth of the chord. And if that isn't enough to convince you, he uses it a third time at the end of the chorus, a chorus that starts on a bright major chord, contrasting the darker previous section, but it ends on the diminished chord, another powerful use of tension and release that unifies his choice of dissonance in this song, culminating in a haunting harmonic and melodic structure that is very alluring, darkly beautiful, and just a tremendously apropos dressing for the lyrical content. This is from her 2016 Jump Up EP entitled Take Me Back. Here is Susan Cadogan singing Mitch Girio's Leaving.
My wounded heart, though it's been torn out and never will restart. I'm keeping track of every time that I think I see your face and nearly die. The ring that you gave me, I put in my pocket. The hardest part of leaving you is knowing that you move on to holding somebody's hand instead of mine. And now our friends are choosing sides like they never were quite sure of who they liked. And family,
I'm going to try to give it to you guys.
Audio Off the Shelf was recorded and produced in a little corner of my basement here in Winnipeg. The Audio Off the Shelf logo was created by Benjamin Crow based on the original iconic artwork by Donna Parsons. Thanks for listening.
Let's go to the bathroom. I'll show you my hair.